This week on IPTT, Sean and I discussed the 1999 amazing classic, Lake Placid.
This is I Pierce the Toast. I'm Sean.
And I'm AJ. Let's make some toast.
Welcome back to I Pierce the Toast.
Don't you mean IPTT?
I'm sorry, what is that? I what?
IPTT?
I'm sorry, I don't listen to hip hop.
Listen. No, Sean, we've been doing this for months now. Literal
an entire
months.
season,
An
if you will.
entire season, which is almost ending. We'll
I
have to
know.
discuss that a little bit.
We will, but first, you're going to tell me something about some sort of, like, I think it was Ipecac?
Let me do the fucking bit, okay?
Yeah, something about Ipecac.
No, Bukakis, okay? No. This is IPTT.
TT.
Now say it with me. IP.
I pierced.
We're not fucking doing this week, okay? God damn it.
So, unfortunately, we do have some bad news, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
You heard about Burt Young?
What?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Suzanne Summers?
Suzanne Summers? What?
She died this week.
No.
Yes, she fucking did.
No way.
Yes.
Hold on.
I believe it was the 13th? So
Oh my God, you're absolutely right. It was on August 15th.
Yeah.
So 4 days ago. I was wondering, because I literally was, I was headed to the gym, and the radio was just on, and they were talking about the Thigh Master and Suzanne Summers. And I was just like, okay, kind of a weird topic, random, whatever. I had no idea. How the hell is that not all over my frickin' feed?
I don't know what is on your feed. I'm interested.
Burt Young.
Who?
Paulie from Rocky. He passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I thought you said Brigham Young for a second. And I was like,
no,
what?
I don't really know how that would be entertainment related.
I don't fucking know, but I was a little worried.
But no, yeah, Burt Young. Let's see here. It says October 8th. So it actually would have been last week. But for some reason, it's only really making headlines today. I don't know if it's just that it's only been announced today. Like maybe he passed in the hospital last week, and now it's just kind of catching up with the media. But well, that sucks. So it sounds like we lost two incredible performers over the last week, because Suzanne Summers, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I love me some Suzanne Summers.
Was she the last of it, or is there still one left from the Three's Company?
I don't know. Who Suzanne Summers played what? Chrissy, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know this, and this was actually what they were talking about on the radio show. Apparently, I think she said she got written off because she demanded higher pay, to be paid as much as... Oh my God.
Who are you trying to say?
From Stay
Use your
Tuned.
words.
We covered him on Stay Tuned.
You're talking about John Ritter?
John Ritter, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, this is all speculation, because this is all secondhand from some radio show, but they were suggesting that she got written off of Three's Company for demanding higher pay, because she was hoping the other two were going to kind of back her up on demanding higher pay, and apparently they didn't. So,
I mean, they were probably like, "No, we're good."
Yeah, and that's that. She said that was a hard lesson to learn, if I remember correctly. Basically saying she had to learn the lesson of everyone is replaceable. Just because she was an incredibly popular figure on the show and everybody knew her name did not mean that the studio would not turn right around and go, if you're going to cost us too much money, we would rather make profit than have a character that we think might be more beloved.
Oh yeah.
So
the original Aunt V on
on Fresh Prince. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Same thing.
But we're not talking about Fresh Prince, and we're not talking about Three's Company. I mean, that is unfortunate for Suzanne Summers. I think that is a big loss in the community.
Absolutely. Same thing with Burt Young.
Yeah, and Burt Young.
Brigham
Young.
Brigham Young. But yeah, so shout out to those two performers. They will be missed. But AJ, what are we discussing this week?
We are discussing the 1999, I'm not going to say answer to what would happen if Jaws was made in Maine, because I think it would still be a completely different movie. But it's more along the lines of like the 1999 version of like, what the fuck can we really do if we put a crocodile in Maine?
I definitely got I like that you mentioned Jaws, because that's exactly the vibe I got from this film. It was very much a Jaws vibe. But before we go into the film, we should probably tell our toasticles our news.
Oh, yeah, before
we make that announcement. Yeah. So we have one more episode in the main season this year. So we're going to be bringing you Totally Killer next week.
Ooh, totally.
Fair warning, it's awful. It was a fun.
Why are we doing that if it's awful?
Because it's a new movie. It just came out, and I've not stopped talking about it because I was so excited, and I want everybody to experience my disappointment with this film.
That is true, because we do always say it's, movies that you think we and others should see. It's not good movies that
That's
you
true.
think
It's
we
not. I still think
see.
everybody should watch it just because of the '80s nostalgia. But no, God, it's incredibly disappointing. But we'll cover that next week.
Oh, yeah.
So we have that one episode, and then AJ and I will be bringing you a Christmas special sometime in December, probably first, maybe second week. But other than that, we're going to be on our holiday break. AJ and I getting ourselves prepped for all the various family and friends events that we'll have over the next 2 months. And
We don't have friends. What are you talking about?
the various people that we know that are inviting us out of pity to holiday events.
No, we have quite a few friends. We have a lot of events to do, and it's just one of those situations where we would love to be able to bring you the content during this season, but we do know that we need to take the time for ourselves and be able to really spend it with our loved ones. And we will come back after.
That's
after
right. We're going to be
yeah.
we're going to be coming back with season 2.
Ooh,
that's so neat to say. Season 2.
We have
Firefly didn't even get a season 2.
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah. Neither did there was something else to do. Fucking Jericho didn't get a season 3. I think.
I actually liked Jericho.
I love Jericho.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, but I will say season 2 definitely brought us some disappointing plot lines. But
the cliffhanger at the end?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong.
Skeet
yeah.
Ulrich? Come on.
I will say that was probably the second most thing I liked Skeet Ulrich in.
What was the first? Scream?
Obviously.
Yeah.
I love me some Skeet and Scream.
I bet you do love some Skeet, you nasty.
I see what you did there. So, we will be back with season 2 next year, starting in the new year. But until then, AJ, tell me about Lake Placid.
Ooh, Lake Placid, which is actually a real lake. I don't know if you knew this.
I did, and I assume that there was probably some sort of nonsense with a lot of people going there after this film was made.
I have no idea. I'm assuming so, because I think on their travel page they're like, hey, this is not where the movie was filmed, but it's a real lake in New York. It's located in Adirondack.
You got that?
Adirondack. Adirondack.
Aluminium?
Yes. Whatever the fucking word is, it starts with an A. I wonder if you can say this for me, guys. It's Adirondack.
Ah, Adirondack. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes,
Let me ask our studio guest. Studio guest, how do you say that word?
Oh, we haven't introduced our studio guest.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're so rude. A special guest in the studio today. Not going to be joining us actually on the pod, but is here to assist us with our various things that we have to do.
Hey, that's my fiance. She only assists one of us, okay?
I meant with the production of the show, you fuck. But AJ's fiance is in the studio today, so big round of applause for AJ's fiance.
Ooh wee!
Yeah, from our studio audience.
So how do you say
Joe?
This?
Spell it again.
Adirondack.
Idinerac. Idinerac.
I dare.
You didn't help with this.
I was no help.
Okay, hold on. There's usually a Google thing. So, okay, spell the word again.
We're spending an inordinate amount of time about this.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Need to know what the fuck
Spell
this
it again.
is.
A-I.
It's
A-D-I-R-O-N.
Dack.
D-A-C-K. Here we go. You ready? All right. Let's see what Google says. Adirondack.
I'm fucking stupid.
When you started spelling it, all I could think was Iditarod.
That's all I could think.
I was like,
That's not what the fuck that is. But anyway, this movie, it was released in 1999. It didn't do the best, but...
Why didn't it do the best, AJ? Why didn't it do the best?
It is a classic, okay?
The fuck? I was so excited because you have talked about this film for years. I've
love
never
this
actually
movie.
seen it. And I didn't realize that until I was like, oh, wow. I maybe I got it mixed up with all the other, monster in water films around that era. Deep Impact, all of them, right? Because there's all these, like...
You don't like boat movies, though.
I don't like boat movies. But this isn't really a boat movie. It's more of a... I don't know. I'd say it's
creature
almost
movie.
It's almost like if you wanted to take a Jaws and then kind of put it in the same setting as Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
that's kind of the
true.
impression I got. But
Which actually kind of makes sense because the director of this movie did direct Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3.
oh, maybe he's just got a thing for lakes.
I think so.
Just like I will only do movies that are set at lakes.
Well, I mean, he also did Halloween H2O. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the lake, but there's water in that.
See, there you go. See, this would be like you as a director. You'd be like, I will direct any film as long as it's in the mountains.
I do love mountains. But yeah, it just didn't really do well. It's not the best movie going back and watching it. I still love the movie, but it's probably nostalgia. I think you should still see it because it's a fun movie.
It's got a pretty fucking amazing cast. I'll give you
it
that.
does.
That's all I'm going to give you, but I will give you that.
So let's go ahead and first let's talk about the director, producer, as we do, and then we'll move on to the cast.
Did you already say the plot? I mean, you kind of.
I guess I didn't really say the plot.
Give me a good plot synopsis
it's
here.
not really it's not really hard to describe. The movie is basically about a crocodile that goes to Maine and it's fucking huge and just starts killing people. That's pretty much it.
I like how you also said the crocodile goes to Maine, because as we're going to find out when you start discussing the plot, this is not a native Maine crocodile,
No, it's
because that's not a fucking thing.
No, it's an Asian crocodile.
So, AJ, who directed this piece of shit?
Steve, don't say that. This movie's great. Steve Miner, he directed, like I said, Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3, 1981 and 1982. The movie House, which I also hear is not a good one.
Which, like the original House horror film in the 1980s?
Yeah.
Wait, did he direct House too?
No, I think just House.
Just the original?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. It's definitely one of those. It's one of those cult classic horror films that's just awful. But yeah, I think I have both that one and the sequel. So if you ever want to watch that, we can waste an entire 3 hours of our lives. That's fine.
We have been recommended that by some of our toasticles, so I think we need to
Are you
watch
fucking kidding me?
it. Yeah.
God.
So, and he also did Halloween H2O, like I said.
Nice.
This movie was produced by David E. Kelly, Michael Pressman.
Wait, this is a David Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Michael Pressman and Peter Bogart. Now, David Kelly is mostly known for creating and producing TV shows like Boston Legal, Ally McBeal, The Practice, Doogie Howser, a bunch of different things.
Yeah, huge television director from like the 90s and early 2000s.
He also wrote this film.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Wow, I would have expected better.
He also did a movie called Mystery Alaska that I want to watch.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, Mystery Alaska, definitely.
Yeah, it's in 1999. Michael Pressman did Chicago Med, Blue Bloods, and I'm pretty sure he wrote his own wiki.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to pull up his wiki really quick, just because the way that it is worded is very, very interesting, and I've never really read a wiki like this. I was just trying to find out stuff about this director, because I look on IMDb, I look up...
You mean this producer?
Sorry, this producer, and I think he's a director as well.
Oh, okay.
But for this, he was a producer.
Sure.
But I look up a lot of stuff. I try to find all the stuff that I can. One of them I do turn to, which is not always a source of truth, so just remember that, is his wiki. And all of it is just like, Pressman's interest in filmmaking was directly motivated, if not provoked, by his family's persecution for their early political sympathies, not unlike others of his era, including those in entertainment and sciences. Now, here's something too. That sounds a little pretentious, but then you go into movies that he was offered, and it says Pressman was categorized as a comedy director and was offered films like Bad News Bears and Breaking Training, the sequel to the immensely popular original starring Walter Matthau, the Dan Aykroyd comedy Dr. Detroit, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. These films, though successful, represented but one side of his ambition and talent.
I don't know. I mean, I think you have an argument there, but it would sell me a lot better on the idea that he wrote his own if there was like just a line in there somewhere where it was, what was his name again?
Michael Pressman.
Michael Pressman, where it's like, Michael's constantly struggled with having such a huge 12-inch penis. Like that, then it's like, okay, yeah, this guy wrote himself.
I want you to just read it. Go ahead, and then everyone read it. Because don't get me wrong, he's a great director, producer, but it kind of seems like he's jerking himself off on this one.
And Wiki is just not the place for that.
Oh yeah. The last producer that we have is Peter Bogart. He did some of my favorite films. He produced Con Air.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Which
Ace
one?
Ventura.
Which Beverly Hills Cop?
The first one.
The original. And the original Ace Ventura?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. Those are good films.
Yeah. So now we're going to move into the cast, which
Oh,
is
feed me,
pretty
Daddy.
fucking star-studded.
Feed me.
Oh, yeah. So we have Bill Pullman
Nice.
as Jack Wells. Kind of the hero, not really the hero. It's kind of weird how this all works out.
Like, and
No one's really the hero.
nobody's really the hero, and there's actually kind of this weird side buddy story with two of the characters that we'll get into, because in any other film like this, one of those guys would have died. They would definitely would have been one of the sacrificial characters, but they weren't.
They weren't.
And instead, they became this like buddy, like Laurel and Hardy, grumpier old men duo. And honestly, that was one of the saving graces for me for this film, is I actually liked their fucking dynamic.
My studio fiance really thought that they were fucking.
You had to wonder at some point.
Yeah, I did. Bill Pullman played in Independence Day as President Whitmore, Spaceballs as Lone Star, Casper as Dr. Harvey, and the phenomenal film Lost Highway as Fred Madison.
You just had to throw in Lost Highway.
Fucking did. I fucking did.
I apologize to all of our Toasticles.
He did this
If
to me.
any of you have inadvertently watched Lost Highway because of this podcast, I deeply and truly apologize.
Yeah, Toasticles, we're going to do that for our fucking holiday special.
No, we don't you dare. Don't you do that to our Toasticles. They deserve better than that.
Next up, we have Bridget Fonda as Kelly Scott. She is obviously, related to some very famous people.
Oh, I'm going to get into that.
So Bridget Fonda as Kelly Scott. She was in Balto as Jenna. She did the voice of Jenna. Army of Darkness as Linda, and Monkey Bone as Dr. Julie McElroy.
Oh yeah, I actually remember her from Point of No Return.
Ooh,
that was and I have not watched this film in probably 30 years, so it could be a giant pile of shit. But I remember loving this film as a kid because it's basically Bridget Fonda is like a druggy kind of like addict. Mm-hmm. And I think she accidentally kills somebody while she's high.
Yeah.
She goes through a trial, she gets put in jail, and then she gets, quote unquote, the death penalty. But then she wakes up, and I can't remember the guy's name.
Did she get total recalled?
Kind of, but not total recalled. She wakes up, and there's this guy there saying, hey, this is your funeral. These are the people that came. Your mother was there, basically telling her like, yeah, you are now legally dead. And it turns out that this is a training program for assassins.
Ooh.
And so she's there with other, potential assassin trainees, and they're teaching her languages and etiquette and assassination techniques, and then they basically deploy her as an assassin. It's kind of a badass movie.
I want to see this.
Yeah,
now.
it's kind of badass.
You know what's interesting to me about Bridget Fonda too?
What's that?
Is the fact that she married Danny Elfman, and as soon as she married him and they started like actually having a family, she just quit acting.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, she was perfectly. She's like, I'm done with the industry. I don't want to do this anymore. Because I had wondered, because I remember loving movies with Bridget Fonda, and then I was like, okay, so what happened to her after this film and other films around here? And yeah, I saw the same thing. Married Danny Elfman, and she's like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go I just want to be a wife and a mother. I don't want to do the Hollywood shit anymore. And honestly, good for her.
Yeah, I mean, this is fucking Danny Elfman too, so I mean, you really don't need to act anymore.
Shit, right? Like fucking every score since like the 1970s has either been written by Danny Elfman or fucking John Williams.
Yeah. Next up, we have Brendan Gleeson as Sheriff Hank Keogh. You'll most likely know him from Harry Potter as Alistair Mad-Eye Mooney, Gangs in New York as Monk, Troy as Menelaus, and then he's going to be in the new Joker movie.
Yeah, he was also in Braveheart.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's been in so much.
He's been in a lot of shit.
What is that most recent one? The Irish film with Colin Farrell. It just came out last year.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Huge accolades. It's supposed to be a very good film. I don't know about you, but every time I see Brendan Gleeson, all I think is, how is this guy not, how is he not a more household name?
Right?
Because he's in everything, and he always does a fucking amazing job.
It's like you see him and you know who he is, but then you're like Michael Rourke. You see Michael Rourke, right. You know who Michael Rourke is, but you say the name and you're like, I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
But I say Brendan Gleeson.
But it's weird because he's so good.
Yeah.
Some of the he's been in films that have been nominated for awards. I'm pretty sure he's been nominated for awards. Yeah. Just a phenomenal performer. And even this most recent one with Colin Farrell, God, I wish I could remember the name of it. And I honestly, even if I try to pronounce it, even as an Irish person, I'd butcher the fuck out of it. But it's gotten incredible accolades. I think it was even up for maybe an Academy Award, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it just baffles me every time I see his name come up. Like, how is this guy not the biggest name in Hollywood? How is he not the most sought after actor in Hollywood right now?
I mean, even his kids are really doing really good too. Dahmel and Brian, they're both doing phenomenal.
Oh yeah, what are they doing?
Well, Dahmel was in Harry Potter as well.
Oh, nice.
He was in quite a bit of other stuff as well. He was like in Never Let Me Go. When Harvey Met Bob, Anna Karenina. He was in a lot of different things. He was in Ex Machina. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I did. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Which one is he in? Ex Machina?
The other guy.
The one that actually owns the company?
No.
Or the guy that's interacting with the robot?
The one that's interacting with the robot.
And that's his son?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I mean,
he's fucking redhead, so nice. That makes sense.
Oh, that's his son.
Yeah.
The one that was in the movie where he time travels.
What?
Isn't that him?
Hold on, she's pointing at you. I don't know what that means.
What? Yeah. Oh, you know what movie I'm talking about, don't you? What is that called?
It's like, isn't it like Leap Year or something like that?
No,
not
Leap Year.
No, that's the wrong movie.
That's a horrible garbage throwaway film. But yes, it basically it's him and it's, oh my god, who's the guy from Shaun of the Dead that plays the stepdad?
Oh, shit.
About Time.
About Time. Thank you.
What the fuck is his name? Bill Nighy.
Bill Nighy.
Yeah.
So it's him and Bill Nighy, and Bill Nighy like sits him down on like his 20th birthday, 18th birthday, something, I don't know, and basically tells him the men in our family can travel through time, and it's not like a mental disorder or anything. It's literally like they can. And basically, they just go into a dark place, close their eyes, clench their fists, imagine where they want to be, and they'll be there. It has to be within their lifetime. Like, they can't, like, travel to Rome or anything crazy like that. So they can go back in their own lifetime and redo moments, relive moments. And the dad is kind of explaining to him, like, you have to decide what you want to do with this. And he says, my father chose to make it about money. And goes into this whole thing about, that didn't really make him happy. So he decided to make Bill Nighy made his about literature, about reading all the books that he could possibly read. But the son decided to focus on love. And that's what About Time is all about. It's about the son using this power of time travel within his own timeline to focus on love, which is really kind of sweet.
We just went off the fucking beat.
Completely off the fucking rails.
Really just off the fucking rails.
I'm trying to find any excuse I can not to talk about this fucking movie.
Well, we were talking about Donald Gleason, but now we're talking about Brendan Gleeson, who's
actually in this movie. Yes.
Yeah, and like I said, he was in Harry Potter, Gangs of New York, Troy, and Joker. At least the new one. Next, we have one of my favorite actors. I fucking love him. Is Oliver Platt. He plays Hector Sire. My all-time favorite movie is The Three Musketeers, and he plays Porthos.
That's right. He was in Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
He's had the problem with Oliver Platt is he's been in so many films. I don't even think I can off the cuff tell you an Oliver Platt film other than Lake Placid, because he's been in so much.
Yep. Bicentennial Man.
I don't remember. What was he in Bicentennial Man?
Yeah, he was the doctor.
Okay.
The guy
that's right. Yes, that was trying to help him become human. Yeah,
he was in
right.
Chef.
Chef?
That's the newer one with what's his name from Marvel?
Oh, The Chef, the horror film.
Chef. Not the horror film, just Chef.
I'm thinking of The Menu.
No, it's the one where what is his name? He played Happy in the Marvel universe. The one that's really fuck is his name?
Happy? Who the fuck is Happy? There's a character in the Marvel universe named Happy?
Yeah, he's the caretaker for Iron Man and
the chauffeur.
Yeah.
His name is Happy?
Yeah, his name is Happy.
Huh. Anyway,
he's really famous.
The director. God, what is his name?
Yeah, right. But it's a movie where he is a chef, but then he takes a review to heart, and he gets really pissed off, and then he decides to go start a food truck with his son, and it's very, very good.
Jon Favreau.
There we go. You also know him from some other shit as well, but yeah. It's got Jon Favreau. It's got Dustin Hoffman. It's a really good fucking movie.
So what else has Oliver Platt been in? Regale me with some more Oliver Platt.
So Three Musketeers, like I said.
Nice.
Chef. He was in Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman as Max Gaines, who's like a really well-known figure in the comic book industry.
This was the one that was kind of a take on the creation of it, right? Yeah, I remember this one.
So he's been in quite a few things, and I wish his name was more known as well, just like Brendan Gleeson, because he has this like warming presence on screen.
He does, yeah. Yeah, which is weird because his role in this is very much not his really usual typecasting of having that warming, comforting presence. This is very much a departure from his typical typecast.
Yeah. Next up, we have one of my favorite people of all time. We have Betty White. Yeah, as Mrs. Dolores Bickerman, who, when you watch this movie, she plays someone you wouldn't expect because some of the things she says are just fucking off the wall.
I cannot wait till we get to some of the things she said.
But Betty White will obviously be mostly known for playing Rose on The Golden Girls. She was in a movie called Bringing Down the House as Mrs. Klein, and the reason I have to mention this is because she sings an old spiritual that's very racist, called Is Master Gonna Sell Me Tomorrow?
Oh, dear God.
Oh, and she sings it to, like, Queen Latifah. It's pretty fucked up.
She's saying that... This was in Bringing Down the House?
Yeah.
I remember that movie.
Yeah.
Wait, who else was in that? Was it Steve Martin?
Steve Martin and, what's his name?
The guy that's in Schitt's Creek.
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's hilarious that she was also in Toy Story 4. She did the voice of Bitey White.
That's great.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we did lose Betty White last year. Or was it this year?
I thought it was... No, it was last year, remember? Because she didn't make it to 2023.
Yeah, and it was very sad. That was a very dark day for me. I ate cheesecake. Just kind of got upset.
Note for our Toasticles, I think AJ has the largest collection of Golden Girls paraphernalia that I've ever seen.
It's pretty big. I got a lot of stuff. When people are like, I don't know what to get you, I'm like, just give me fucking Golden Girls stuff. I love the Golden Girls. I have some video games. I have a coloring book.
Wait, you have a Golden Girls video game?
No, I didn't mean video game. I mean a game. It's a like a board game.
Oh, a board game. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, there's a video game that we have not played together. Like, what the fuck?
I wish. Betty White is one of my favorite actors, and I just really love her in this movie.
I mean, I don't think there's ever a movie I haven't liked her in. And even in this movie, which I'm going to, in case I haven't made it clear yet, I was not a fan of, she was the saving grace. I fucking loved her in this because she was, even though it was a bit of a departure from the character we sometimes get from Betty White, she always knows how to give us the best possible performance for whatever she's in. And I fucking loved her in it. She was fantastic. She's just sassy and fun and just off the cuff.
No nonsense.
No nonsense.
Yeah.
No nonsense, Betty.
Now, we only have a couple more left, and then I swear I'm going to just get into everything. There's Meredith Salinger as Deputy Sharon Gare. She was in Village of the Damned as Melanie Roberts, Race to Witch Mountain as Natalie Gann. She was in Dream a Little Dream as Lainey Diamond.
And who is she married to?
Who is she married to?
Patton Oswalt.
Oh, yeah, she is married to Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt, tragically lost his wife, and I think it was a few years later, him and Meredith got married, and it's just kind of funny because he's apparently always had a crush on her, and with good reason. Yeah. Meredith Salinger is an absolutely beautiful woman, but yeah, they're married now, and they have lots of antics on Twitter and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
I forgot about that. I even was looking at that the other day. I forgot that she's married to Patton Oswalt, and I was like, oh yeah, I like that. The last two that I'm going to talk about are really just kind of throwaway characters, but I have to mention them.
I know exactly who you're about to fucking mention.
The first one is Mariska Hargitay.
That's where you're going.
As Myra. She's it's like you barely see her in this movie.
She's in one scene.
Yeah,
she has one scene. But it's important. It's an important plot mover, but she's in one fucking scene.
And obviously the most well-known role that she has is Olivia Benson on SVU. And I was talking to my fiance, or we were talking about how beautiful she actually is.
Oh yeah.
Because like she got on screen, I was like, how the fuck does she not, like, how was she not the lead in this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I'm glad you mentioned Mariska. Is it Mariska? Mariska
Hargitay.
That gives us two examples of nepotism in this movie.
Yeah.
Because her mother was, of course, Jane Mansfield.
Yeah.
And that's why I was going to bring this up, because, of course, Bridget Fonda comes from a long line. Her father was Peter Fonda. I think her aunt is Jane, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. So both of them very much Hollywood royalty, if you will. Mm-hmm. So while I think both of them have been incredible performers in their own right. I mean, Olivia Benson has been literally carrying the SVU franchise on her own for the last probably 10 years.
No, Ice-T.
I'm sorry, Ice-T. You're right. I was literally about to say, Ice-T definitely gives us some...
You give me my favorite Midwestern drink.
He gives me some flavor. That's true. I do love me some Ice-T in that fucking show. But she has been with the show since inception, whereas Ice-T obviously came in, I think, maybe like season 5 or 6 or something crazy like that.
Oh, he was like season 2.
Was it? Was he that early
Yeah.
on? I don't think so.
I just started watching it and I thought,
Did you watch
it's
it
either
again?
season 2 or 3.
Was it really? Okay.
It's the departure of one of the main girls.
Yeah,
when she gets in trouble.
because she gets in trouble for
Because she was sleeping with-
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, we know way too much about this show.
Yeah.
But yeah, both two very apt performers. However, they probably would not have the careers they have if it weren't for nepotism.
It's very true. The last cameo that I have is just Adam Arkin, and the reason I mention him is because he is well known in a lot of circles. He was Kevin,
Which one's Kevin?
the guy that was sleeping with both.
Okay, yeah, the museum director, I think is what it was,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
The reason that I did have to throw him in, besides being just a really well-known actor, is that he was actually in Halloween H2O, and Sean and I have talked about this particular store before, but they used to have an Entertainment Award of the Year, and he got the Blockbuster Entertainment Award for Favorite Actor in Horror for Halloween H2O.
Nice.
Yeah. They don't have that anymore because Blockbuster's not really a thing.
How dare you? There is still one left. We will
We're
make
gonna
our
travel
pilgrimage.
there. We're going to travel there.
We will do it.
So now I'm just going to jump into a couple fun facts just before we get into this. And I'll, how what I do, I intersperse them as we go. But like we mentioned, Lake Placid is a real place, but it was not filmed on Lake Placid. This movie was also not filmed in Maine. It was filmed in Vancouver.
Because of course.
Yeah. Which, when I was listening to some of the back and forth that Oliver Platt had when he was doing an interview with Bobby Wygant, I don't know why I love her interviews so much. I just really do.
What?
Knock it off
you
over there,
think
Joe.
You're doing over there.
I ran out of phone storage.
Did you really? Jesus.
But I really love the interviews that she does. I don't know why. She just seems very nice. But he was talking about how they did a lot of the underwater stuff in a tank. But when he was watching the movie, he could not tell what was filmed in the tank and what was just filmed out on the lake. Because he was like, it was done so well. So I was like,
Nice.
even an actor is like, I don't know what was what because it's like that.
That's pretty good.
It's really cool. In Spain, this movie was called Mandubulas, which is Spanish for Jaws. It's a tribute to the Steven Spielberg movie.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So
That's what
wait.
they called it.
So what is Jaws called in Spanish?
Tiburon,
Is it really?
Spanish for shark.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Like you looked that up?
Yeah, I fucking did.
So in Spanish, in Spain, this movie is called Jaws, but the actual movie called Jaws is called Shark.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you to our friends in Spain. Thank you for that. Thank you for that enjoyable little tidbit.
This is a little tidbit for you guys, just because we do play a game called 6 Degrees of whatever it is. And this is kind of funny because there's 3 actors in here that have worked with Sandra Bullock. I don't know why this is funny to me, but it is.
Okay, we got Betty White. Hold on, let me
Yep.
see if I can do this. It's Betty White.
Can you tell me the movie?
The Proposal.
Yeah.
Okay, and so there's 2 more in here that have worked
Yeah.
with Betty White. Okay, let me see here. It's not Bridget Fonda.
Nope.
Mariska Hargitay?
Nope.
No. Okay, then it has to be Bill Pullman.
Yes.
Okay, what the hell did he work with Sandra in?
While You Were Sleeping.
Oh, God, how did I forget? That was like one of her earliest films, too. Fuck. Because he plays the brother that she actually falls in love with. Oh, God, yeah, that's a good movie, too. Okay, there's one more. Let's see.
One more, and
it's got to be
Oliver
Oliver Platt.
2. Yeah.
It has to
2.
be Oliver Platt. I couldn't tell you what they were, but it has to be because like I said, he's been in everything. So
Yeah. A Time to Kill and Gunshot. He was in both of those with Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock was in A Time to Kill.
Yeah.
With Matthew McConaughey.
In 1996.
No shit. I didn't realize she was. And what was the other one?
Gunshot. I have never seen Gunshot.
Yeah, I
but I've
don't
seen
think I
Time
ever
to
even
Kill.
heard of that one. But yeah, Time to Kill. I remember Matthew McConaughey. I remember Oliver Platt. I do not remember Sandra Bullock in that movie.
I just thought it was funny.
That is pretty cool. 6 Degrees of Betty White.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I could find a lot of, because there's not a lot of fun facts out there that don't involve going in a super deep dive. And unfortunately, guys, on this episode, I did not have a lot of time to deep dive. Deep dive because it's...
Of course, you couldn't deep dive because it's only a lake.
Shut the fuck up.
You know what I say to that?
What? Kraken? But one of the big things that I kept running into is how much time and effort was spent on the animatronics for this fucking crocodile.
Really?
So Stan Winston, probably a name you don't recognize, but is really big in the movie world. He did the xenomorph for Alien, and he also did the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Nice.
So he was the one that created the crocodile.
So he knows his shit when it comes to animatronics.
So basically, they got this so well because a lot of people were saying that water will fuck up everything. That was a big thing with Jaws. It was a big thing with any animatronic animal that goes into the water. It just wreaks havoc on their systems.
Sure.
They made this crocodile so well, the crocodile could swim, it could move his head, and for the scenes that they needed the crocodile to move faster, they just pulled it with I believe it was a helicopter.
Oh, nice.
Just to make it go faster.
Okay.
But it held up and it did very, very well. Now, before I move into the plot of the movie, I'm just going to tell you who, in my honest opinion, Mr. Sam Elliott would play.
Oh, yes, of course, Sam Elliott.
Mr. Sam Elliott.
Tell me, AJ, who is Sam Elliott playing in Lake Placid?
Sam Elliott would play Dolores. Yes.
Betty White?
Yeah.
That's the role he would play.
I just think it would be funny.
We would just slip him in right where Betty White was. I love it.
So now we're going to move into the plot.
Let's have it.
Picture it. Maine, 1999.
I'm there.
Do you see what I did there?
I did.
No, you don't.
I don't.
No.
What?
That was a Golden Girls reference.
It was?
Yeah.
How?
That's what
Oh,
Sophia
because she's
did.
always like, picture it, Sicily. Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played.
The movie opens up on some pretty beautiful scenes of a lake and some underwater vignettes, which leads us to two people, Officer Hank and Fish and Game Warden Walt. I don't know his last name. I don't really care because it really doesn't matter at this point. On a boat discussing tagging beavers, and it's not as fun as what you think it would be. It's just beavers. So we'll let that sink in for a second. There's a quick back and forth showing that Hank might have some type of bittersweet relationship with the Fish and Game office. And then Walt goes scuba diving to a beaver den, heyo, and is attacked by an unseen creature. He gets to the surface and he starts screaming for help. And then there's a brief struggle where it looks like Walt might actually be able to make it. But then Hank pulls him in and there's a ripping sound. And then some of Walt makes it in there.
Some of Walt.
Some of it, yeah. It's like half of them.
So, what did you think of Hank's reaction to Walt?
He was just like, He didn't seem as surprised as he should be.
He was so fucking unbothered. He was just like he's looking at him like, damn it, another half a dude again. Like, what the fuck, Hank?
I mean, he did have a Twinkie, so.
I'm sorry. That was the tone for this fucking film is Hank pulls half a dude who's literally lost his entire bottom half into the boat and is just, he's not freaking out. He's not like, oh my God, nothing like that. No panic, no desperately trying to get on the radio to call for backup. He's just looking at him like, well, that's a shame. Another half a guy in my boat. Like, what the fuck? How are you unbothered by this?
So then we get to meet Kelly, who is in New York, who is a paleontologist at a museum of some type. I don't think they actually ever say which museum she's a part of, and who is also dating her boss, Kevin. Now, while trying to calm down after receiving what appears to be some bad news from Kevin, which we do find out is him having found another woman, her friend Myra sheepishly tells her that Kevin and her used to be a thing, but now they're back together.
Yeah. Detective Benson over here stealing people's men.
Oh, yeah.
Stealing your man.
Dun, dun,
She's
dun,
she's
dun.
gonna wind up in an episode on her own show. over here, fucking Detective Steal Your Man.
In another scene, we get to meet Fish and Game Warden Jack, who is taking over the investigation, which to me doesn't make any fucking sense. But I guess I just don't understand the investigative process. I guess if animals are involved, the wildlife department takes over?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, and I didn't try to make any sense of the chain of custody / chain of command or jurisdiction of any of this shit, because none of it made sense to me.
It looked like the Fish and Game office reported to the state, or no, the actual U.S. Department of Wildlife Conservation, but then the deputy sheriff's office reported to the state police, and it's very fucking weird. Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't try to make heads or tails of that. I was just like, you know what? After fucking Hank is in the boat, just like, what a shame. Another half a dude in my boat. I was like, okay, I'm suspending all fucking questioning in this film, and I'm just going to let it happen.
Now, Kelly is told by Kevin that he wants her to travel to Maine to see a tooth that the Maine group had found, in an obvious attempt to get her to give her some time to cool off. Because she really didn't want to go, but then he's like, no, you really need to. Oh my God, yes, I'm sleeping with your best friend. Doom, 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 doom.
Is that going to be the last SVU reference, or do you got more?
I think
is this going to be another Killer Clowns episode where they're just going to keep coming?
No, I did something else with this one.
I know.
So she begrudgingly flies to Maine and is greeted by an annoyed Hank. And I love Hank because he's just always pissed off in this movie. And he's wondering why a museum would ever send a paleontologist to check out a tooth and a body. Now she tries to prove herself by viewing the half of Walt that made it. And after almost tossing her cookies, see, that's what I'm going to do. Because this is a 90s film, I'm giving you all 90s slang.
Oh, I like it. Nice.
Yeah. Tossing her cookies means that she threw up.
Make me feel at home.
States that the tooth is clearly reptilian. We get a glimpse of a weapon that Hank has, which is called a lightweight forward area device unit. You get a glimpse of this and you never really see it again until the very end of the movie.
You mean when he says hello to...
his little friend?
His friend, yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny to me because this device that he's actually holding is just a fucking flare deployment device. But that's not what it does in this movie, and we will find out.
No, it basically becomes a... Yeah, no, I'm not going to run it. You go on.
Now, I guess that is supposed to be a joke on what like military jargon is. It's just a lightweight forward area device unit. You just call it random shit, but it really is just a flare deployment device. It's just funny.
Wait, okay, hold on. Say it again. Lightweight forward
area device unit.
Device unit. So it's an LFADU.
Sure.
That's what we would do in the military. We would have said, yeah, it's an LFADU. You always acronymize it, and then you pronounce the acronym. That's what we do in the military.
Oh.
So, you don't go to the defense, food, something, whatever, the DFAC. You go to the DFAC.
Moving on. So Jack shows up and he tells Kelly that she is not needed and that she can head back to New York. And this is where I don't know if you got this. I really did not like Kelly's character.
Oh, I literally have this written down. Was Jane Fonda meant to be the most hated character in this film?
I think so. Because there's no redeeming qualities.
Literally, even to the end of the film, and I get that they, like you said, they're trying to make this kind of weird, awkward romance between her and Bill Pullman's character, but Jesus fucking Christ, it was just awful.
Oh yeah.
I could not. I don't even know if there was a way for her to become a likable character with the dialogue she was given. Like, I don't blame Bridget here. The problem was the dialogue was terrible, and there was no way for her to approach this dialogue without coming off completely unlikable.
It's very true, because if you watch this movie, you will not like her. And like Sean said, it's not Bridget Fonda's fault for making an unlikable character. It's just how she was written.
Yeah.
I think that Jessica Rabbit said it best. I'm not bad. That's just how I'm drawn.
I'm just drawn that way.
I'm just drawn that way.
You say it right, and you say it sultry.
Oh yeah.
little bit of a baritone Jessica Rabbit there.
Kelly angrily tells Jack and Hank that she's staying to find out what killed Walt, which again doesn't make any sense, but don't worry about it. Hank, Jack, and Kelly travel by boat to visit the person that lived closest to the lake, Dolores Bickerman.
Yay.
While questioning her about her husband, she hilariously tells the group that she killed her husband because he begged for it. But she tells the story about how he was at the end of his life and he begged her to do it, so she hit him over the hand with a frying pan.
Well, dig him up if you don't believe me, Sherlock.
What's funny about that is I think I was watching this with my wife, and her favorite film is Tangled. And I don't know.
The frying pan. Yeah.
So literally when she heard that, she goes, frying pans, who knew?
Now, she says she doesn't know anything about what's going on, and then they kind of leave her house. The group heads to the campsite, which Kelly obviously has something to say, as she thought that they would be glamping. I don't know what she really thought here. But
was
she's
glamping
like,
a term back then? Did she say glamping?
No, she didn't say glamping,
okay.
But she said that I thought we were staying at like the Ramada Inn. Like, no, you're fucking in Maine. You're going to go camping in the woods. What the fuck are you doing?
I was just curious because I was like, we say glamping. Like, I don't think that even became a term until, like, what, 2010 or something?
No, it was yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. It hasn't been around that long.
So Hank points out something in the water, and then he pulls out a full-ass fucking moose head, accidentally hitting Kelly with it, who gets pissed. So they arrive at camp, and we meet Deputy Sharon, who Kelly tries to connect with, which is kind of awkward, because she makes a really bad joke about horny men at the camp, and everyone just kind of looks around.
That's like, and this is what I mean by it's not Bridget doing a bad performance. It's literally just a badly written character.
Yeah, 100%.
Because here in this awkward ass scene, Meredith Salinger's character is just like, okay. Like, they literally wrote her this way. They wanted her to be so awkward and unlikable. It's like, why would you write your main fucking character like this?
Now, Jack tries to get Kelly to admit why she's really there by saying that she clearly doesn't belong there. She hates camping, the outdoors, mosquitoes, and she's definitely never been in the field. He mentioned something about her fingernails at some point, and she kind of goes off. And I just have to say, her fucking attitude about everything, like we just mentioned, just doesn't make any sense. So you really just do not like the character. But then we get brought on to another unlikable character, but also kind of a likable character, because now we get to meet Hector. They're interrupted by a helicopter that's piloted by Hector, and Kelly mentions that her museum has used him in the past because she instantly knew who the fuck he was. I don't know how she knew that just by a helicopter, but okay.
I don't know about you, but I got this impression about what Hector was supposed to be. Now, he didn't wind up being this in any fucking stretch of the imagination, but it was like they were trying to make him an over-the-top Steve Irwin.
Yes.
Like, that was what he was intended to be.
Yeah.
But that is not how the character came across.
He's trying to be a wildlife warrior. But
Yeah,
really
one of those wildlife warriors, the ones that, but not. And Steve Irwin's probably a bad example because he was a huge advocate for conservation. Probably more like a Bear Grylls. And Bear Grylls isn't a good example either because he's just a survivalist enthusiast. So, but kind of this archetype of a character that doesn't really care about conservation, is only doing it for the glory.
Yeah.
Okay. He gives a little bit of that, but not really. And it's just it doesn't meet the expectation of what this character is supposed to be. And also the way we're writing, it's like they started with that and they were going to make him a really hated character of, check out this jack off that's just here to frickin', get his next book deal or whatever. And then it doesn't go that direction at all, and we decide, no, we're going to make him likable and keep him alive. It's just, it fucking
doesn't make any sense.
This is exactly what I'm talking about the writing. It was just so bad.
Like I said, Kelly mentions that her museum has used him in the past, and that he travels the world swimming with crocodiles. And if he's here, then he must think that they have one. After landing, Hector starts demanding various things, and he's very clearly the eccentric wealthy, because he just starts saying this just weird shit. And I just have to say this, I love this movie, but the dialogue and the characterization in particular when it comes to Hector is just terrible. I really
What, you didn't like his exchanges with Meredith Salinger in the tent?
No, and it's very bizarre, and he just says whatever he wants, and it makes zero sense.
And that exactly, and he's like, it's like they were trying to write him to come off as almost a playboy.
Yeah,
and it's like that's. Oliver Platt is not a playboy.
No.
He's Oliver Platt.
I mean, in Three Musketeers, he was a playboy. But
okay, yes, but they gave him the dialogue to back it up.
Oh, yeah.
Here, they want him to. They were like, here, we're going to give you some shit dialogue that doesn't say playboy, but we want you to somehow try to make it playboy. And it was just, oh, God, it was so fucking hard to watch.
Like, in the next scene, whenever they're in the boat and they're driving around and he's using some state-of-the-art equipment because he's supposed to be really wealthy, he just randomly says to the group if Kelly told him that they had sex. And he's like,
She told you that we had sex together? So vigorous!
I never had sex with you.
I'm horrible in bed, they never remember.
Now, the rest of the group is clearly skeptical that a crocodile would be in Maine, but Hector points out that there are plenty of points of entry from the ocean to inland Maine, and that as long as their nostrils don't freeze, they can actually survive the winter. If you've ever been to Maine, like I have, it is very fucking cold up there.
You
at least during. It's a very beautiful state, but it's very, very cold there.
So you're saying that really, when you vacation, you really should vacation in Maine in the summertime.
You should vacation in the fall. No. There's a very odd interaction between him and Hank at this point, too, because they're roughly about the same size, but then he tells Hank that he's fat.
Oh, I love that.
Which doesn't make any sense.
See, this is where I don't think... It's like they got Oliver Platt last minute, and because he was such a big name at the time, they're like, oh, yeah, let's jump on that opportunity. Not realizing like, this is not the person we wrote this character for at all. Because they clearly wrote it for like a... I don't know. Who was the guy... Do you remember National Treasure?
Yes.
Remember the bad guy from that? The Brit? The one that was like,
Oh,
following
you're
along the
talking
whole time?
about Sean Ben. And that's his name, Sean Ben?
Maybe him. It's like they were writing this character for that guy, And then they wound up with Oliver Platt, and it's like, okay, well, let's somehow go a completely different direction with how this character should be played.
Oh, exactly.
That's just, yeah. And again, this is not Oliver Platt's fault. Oliver Platt is an incredible performer. His catalog of work speaks for itself. He was given garbage dialogue. So, David E. Kelly, what the fuck?
Now, at this moment, they are interrupted because there's some perch stirring the water, and he asks if they're feeding, and Jack says no, that they're scared, before something big hits one of the boats, just sending Kelly and Hank flying. And after a suspenseful moment, which really doesn't lead to anything, they climb on the boat and they all make it to safety. Now, Kelly, in her full Karen godness, calls the U.S. Wildlife Department to send someone out, but is told without proof that they're not going to come out. Now, they find another piece of Walt on the ground. It's a toe that somehow Hector uses to confirm that there's a fucking crocodile. And in this scene, it's kind of funny, too, because he hands it over to Hank at some point, and he's like, I'm sorry for your friend.
I don't know what, it's just another piece of Walt.
This is just another
That's the way you put that.
It is. He's just leaving bits on the fucking ground.
It reminds me of Billy Crystal from City Slickers 2 when he's like, when one of the characters is like, if I die first, eat me. And Billy Crystal's like, eat you? What a lovely image. Ooh, is there any more Phil? Pass the Phil. Great party. Thanks to Phil. It just reminded me of the piece of Walt.
It's a piece of Walt. Now, Hector bribes 2 deputies to dig a trap for him, and then he's shown partying with all the rest of the deputies.
Law enforcement is very dangerous work, isn't it? And you have such big, wonderful boobs.
And in his words, this is to lure out the fucking crocodile. I really didn't understand this. And Kelly and Jack have another conversation about why she's really there, and she finally tells him it's about Kevin. She says that she won't get in their way, but she just doesn't want to go back yet. And there's a small moment where there seems like there might be a there might be a spark between them, but again, this doesn't make any sense because they haven't really built up the chemistry between them.
They haven't. Yeah, and that's the other part of the problem. The dialogue doesn't give the characters enough characterization to build on one another either.
Now, while out draining the lizard, Hank hears a noise and...
How many of these do you have? I caught that one.
I think there's a couple more in here.
I caught that 90s reference to a 90s idiom.
Yeah, it means you're going pee-pee. Now, Hank hears a noise and then, gun drawn, goes to investigate. Then he stumbles upon Hector laying a spring trap. Now, I thought this would have been a good moment, and it would have been hilarious if Hector was going poo-poo, but he was not going poo-poo. He was just making a trap. And then they argue again.
I don't want to watch Oliver Platt take a shit.
I think that'd be hilarious. and then he wakes up the rest of the team.
He's waving his little wang around. He's scaring the shit out of me.
Okay. Did you prep this entire episode just to get laughs out of me? Because holy fuck.
100%. Now, Jack tells Hector that while they appreciate his equipment, if he interferes, he's gone.
Heyo.
And then Hector gets all pissed off and he storms off. And Kelly informs everyone that Hector thinks that crocodiles are divine and defends this by saying that crocodiles have been worshipped throughout time. But then Hank just calls him a fruitcake before immediately stepping into a trap.
See, this is where I start to see this. And it doesn't start this way. It just kind of... It's like they realized they had the wrong character, the wrong actor to try to play this playboy, and this is where we start to see this buddy comedy that comes to life between Hank and what's Oliver Platt's character? Hector. Hank and Hector. So you start seeing this like buddy, like old grumpy old men, Laurel and Hardy thing playing out, where they're just going to kind of go back and forth, and pranking each other and getting at each other, and it'll eventually wind up with them being almost. Very overly friendly. I think like you alluded to, like, well, are these two getting together?
Relations?
They're gonna have relations, and this is the moment. It's right here where you start to see like, did they just make this a buddy film, like a buddy cop film? What the fuck are we doing here?
I think halfway through they realized that they had some really interesting chemistry. They're like, fucking go with it.
I know, but honestly, if they had just started that from the very beginning, I think it would have been better. Don't write Oliver Platt as this billionaire, spoiled playboy that's just there to swim with whatever crocodiles he finds. Write him as, the lovable, goofy, fun person that he can be.
Yeah.
opposite Brendan Gleeson, and that would have played very well. I think, if we had just done that from the beginning and scrapped all this Playboy bullshit, it might have actually been a decent script.
Now, in the next 4 movies that preceded this one, they probably should have done that. Now, I have not seen them, so I couldn't tell you if that's what happens.
Are you telling me there's a Lake Placid?
There's fucking 4 more.
4 more. So there's 5
There's
total.
5 Lake Placid movies.
So they did this movie.
And then 5.
And then
4 more.
decided, let's do that 4 more
They
times.
said, fuck it, direct to DVD. We got this shit. Now, the next day, Jack and Hector go scuba diving to find the crocodile while the rest of the team waits on the boat. They use the sound of baby crocodiles to try to lure the creature in. And then Hank tells Kelly that he thinks that Hector's mental. He's like, I think he's one of those mentals. It's like, what the fuck is this?
One of those mentals?
Yeah.
Does he not realize that means something completely different?
Yeah.
Like, he's insinuating he's a psychic.
It's okay, Sean. Just let it go.
Swear to God.
Now, Kelly tells him that he has been all over the world. He swam with all the world's crocodiles, and he's never even been nipped. Boat suddenly starts being dragged by an anchor, and Kelly falls off the boat again. This is not the last time that she will fall off a shit.
No, this entire movie could just be called Kelly Falls Off the Boat.
Yeah, they're like, hey, let's just fucking launch Bridget Fonda. Let's just fucking do it.
There we go. There's our new title, Launching Bridget Fonda.
Yeah. Failure to launch.
Failure to launch Bridget Fonda.
Lake Placid. Now, more perch are shown being riled up while Hank and another deputy try to get back to her. I guess this is like the scene in Jaws where you can see the fin. It's like, oh, let's get the perch all round up.
Okay. All right.
There's a crocodile in the walrus.
There's crocodiles outside.
Yeah. Now, there seems to be something going after her because they do the classic, like, behind the person camera view. But it's just shown to be Jack whenever she gets into the boat. Then they try to find Hector, who's been split up from Jack. After he gets on board, there's another deputy who's just starting to reel up the little device that they're using to make the crocodile sounds. And then his fucking head gets bit off. So now he's just leaving his fucking body behind like a fucking jackass. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, oh, you could have taken that with you, but no. And also, it kind of pissed me off, too, that it seemed like the crocodile didn't really want to eat people because this head makes a fucking resurgence later.
It's like the crocodile is just aggressive towards humans.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually want to harm humans. I think it has more of a taste for beef, though.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a minute.
Now, Hank informs the state police because they've already informed the wildlife department that that's not good, nothing's really going to happen. But now they're going to inform the state police what has happened. And Kelly is shown to be in a state of shock. This is the only moment in the movie I actually kind of feel bad for her because Bridget Fonda plays this part really, really well, where you can tell she's clearly traumatized. Jack consoles her, and Hector tries to do the same for Hank, which is kind of funny because he tells this weird, bizarre dream he has. And then Hank says, "You're probably a fine person in your own mental way, but it's probably best they don't speak." And then he immediately gets caught in one of Hector's traps. And she's getting calmed down by Hector. He's like, "Now, when you get out, you're not going to do anything, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." And so they have to lower Hank down because I guess it's just a counterweight. And then as soon as he gets out of that fucking trap, he goes straight after Hector with a fucking limb. And while chasing Hector, a bear comes running at him. And it's fucked up because the bear looks like he's about to do some serious damage to them.
No, he doesn't.
But then the crocodile comes out of nowhere, grabs the fucking bear, and just drags him. Finally, we get some fucking crocodile screen time.
I would like to have a moment of silence for our friend the bear. That bear was warning them. They were too close to the water, and that bear was running to say, "Hey guys, get away from the water. The crocodile's going to get you." And then the crocodile takes the bear out. That bear was a goddamn hero.
Was he asking them about a picnic basket or telling them about forest fires?
He was doing that.
Or was he looking for honey?
He might have been looking for honey. But I'm telling you, like, he doesn't actually attack anybody. He just runs at them. I swear. He was trying to warn them. He was a good bear. There's a good bear that died that day.
Well, now he's a fucking eating bear, isn't he?
Well, yeah, now he's a crocodile snack.
Now, while discussing the fact that the crocodile is real and what needs to happen, Hank makes mention that he's going to kill it. Hector, for some reason, takes this as a personal attack, and then they get into it again. Now, Hector tells him that one of the benefits of being rich is being dropped off at the karate dojo when he was a kid, and that he's a brown belt. He goads Hank into a fight, but it's not really a fight because Hank just punches him and knocks him to the ground, and Hector's upset because he's like, he didn't say go like they do in karate.
Yeah, I like that part. He's like, they say go. And that's the part where it's like, clearly you can tell the dialogue has somehow shifted.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're no longer trying to make him out to be a playboy. He's just fun. Because that's not the thing you would do for somebody who's that type of character. Instead, it's something you do for this. They're playing up this buddy comedy shit. You know, it's like, he didn't say go. Like, come on, that's a fun line, but it doesn't make sense for the character he was initially introduced as.
It's like almost initially he was written as an incel, and then they fucking changed it up a little bit. They're like, oh, we can't go that route.
Yeah, kinda.
Now, this is what's kind of funny, is that right after this, Kelly and Jack get another tender moment while she tends to a wound that he had from moving her out of the way of the bear.
Is this the tent scene?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And now, Hank and Hector had actually gone off together for some fucking reason, and Hank and Hector are then shown to be having a tender moment of their own as they're watching a documentary about crocodiles. Hector says that they only have one natural enemy, and they're just kind of going back and forth, and Hank correctly guesses it as man. Now, Hank asks Hector if theirs is a mutant due to its size, but Hector just says he doesn't think so, and that they can get that big. And then Hank asks why crocodiles are even there, and he says, I don't know. Very ominous.
Very ominous.
The next day, Hector takes Deputy Sharon, who he's trying to bone, with him in the helicopter to see if he can get the crocodile, deducing that the cove must be where it lives while the rest of the group tracks it on land. They come across a massive footprint, and while trying to get a mold of it, Jack tells Kelly not to mush it. This is another fucking scene where it makes me want to just punch Kelly in the face, which I would never do, because I don't really condone violence, but Jack is just like, hey, don't mush it, because you could mush it because it's very soft. She's like, I'm not going to mush it. And he's like, no, just you could because it's very soft. And she's like, oh my God, I'm not going to mush it. And then she runs off and steps on a limb. And then that fucking head just comes right back around and hits her. And she gets very pissed off. And she's like, I keep getting hit by heads. Now, Jack looks up and he notices right where they are. They're right next to Dolores' house. And then they watch as she takes a cow and feeds it to the crocodile. They questioned her, and she says she hasn't broken any laws, and Hank tells her that she lied, which would be obstructing justice. She says she only lied because that they would have gone off and killed the crocodile, which is exactly what they're trying to do. When she's asked how long she's been feeding it, she says 6 years. And one day, her husband went out fishing and followed him home, so they just fed it scraps, like a pet that lives in the wild. Hank asks if she's led her husband to his death. She quickly replies with one of my favorite Betty Whiteisms. She says,
If I had a dick, this is where I'd tell you to suck it.
I actually have this line written down.
Yeah.
That's how much I love this line.
I fucking love this one.
This is why Betty White is the saving grace of this film, because everything she said in this film was fucking gold.
When pressed whether the crocodile actually killed her husband, she admits that it did, but it was an accident. A horse got loose and it got close to the lake. Bernie tried to stop it, and well, it was never a good week at Bernie's after that.
Another one.
Yeah,
you got another 90s
Bernie's,
that
yeah.
reference. That's fun.
She said she didn't do anything because that they would have killed it, and no one lives there, so it's not really hurting anyone, and that it's really just his lake now. Back at the helicopter, Hector is
no, you fucking don't.
What?
There are 2 more lines.
She doesn't say it right now.
Wait, which line do you think?
She says it at the end.
What line?
I think you're trying to say the where she calls them cocksuckers.
No, not that one. It's during that scene.
What'd she say?
There's 2 other lines. One, and this isn't as funny, but I just for some reason the way she delivered it was fantastic. You feed one little cow to an alligator, which was also funny because it's supposed to be a crocodile, right? And I think she says alligator, but I thought that was funny. But I think my favorite one was,
You're under full house arrest.
Thank you, Officer Fuckmeat.
and I fucking lost my shit.
I loved Betty White in this movie.
I mean, I honestly can't think of a film I've ever seen her in where I was just like, oh god, she just did a terrible job. No, she never does.
She's great.
Even in a film like Lake Placid, where, and I swear, like, did David Kelly write these lines? Because I'm wondering if David was like he was like, well, here's your lines, Betty, and she was like, no, I'm gonna spice this up a bit. I'm gonna put some Betty White spice on this.
I'm gonna make these lines golden. Hey! Now back at the helicopter, Hector is getting ready to go explore the lair. Sharon employs him with sex to try to get him to go, which is a mistake. He just dives in the fucking water. Now this proves to be a mistake, as he is met face to face with a fucking giant crocodile, who in his own words is a little different than the others.
You think?
He slowly makes his way back to the helicopter and uses a quick release raft, which is pretty ingenious in my opinion, to like be able to get away. And the crocodile grabs a hold of one of the legs of the helicopter, and it almost pulls that motherfucker straight down before they can make their escape. This is when I would have noped the fuck out of there.
I actually have a line written down here, literally because of what you were saying. And this line says, when Meredith Salinger offers you sex to walk away from the death lake, you fucking take it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't even understand how that's a contest. Like, get to sleep with Meredith Salinger, possibly get eaten by a giant fucking lizard. I don't know. I'm torn. No, you're fucking not torn. You let Meredith Salinger lead you to the promised fucking land.
Maybe he has a leather fetish.
Ew.
So Jack grounds Hector literally when he gets back, furious about the risk he took, and Hector tells Jack that he has no authority over him. He actually tells him, I'm a civilian, not a trout. It's just kind of funny.
It was such a dumb line.
I thought it was funny as shit. But then Hank's like, but I could arrest you. And then he's like, then do it. And Kelly has to go and console Hector. She tells him that what he did was foolish. And she asks if he had a death wish. And he says that in ancient Melisania, is that the actual place? People convicted of crimes would get thrown to crocodiles, and the crocodiles would actually be the ones that would judge them. When asked if he wanted to be judged, he says maybe, and then he tries explaining what he felt in the moment. And this is actually kind of funny to me because he's just been full of bullshit this entire time.
Yeah, and this is like this weird, clarifying, genuine moment he's supposed to be having, but it felt so fucking forced.
Well, Kelly 100% was like, stop with the bullshit. And then you see him like try to go and he's like, all right, you got a point. Like, he just kind of waves it off like, yeah, I'm just full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just willing to drop this entire facade after everything that he's been through.
It's actually pretty funny. I like that.
I don't know. I felt so awkward watching this scene.
Now, he does tell Kelly that they can't let the team kill the crocodile. I don't know why, because he just came face to face with it. He knows this is different than what he's ever experienced, but he doesn't want it to die, apparently. Now, everyone gathers around to discuss what needs to be done, and after an impassioned speech by Hector stating that it's a miracle something of his size and age made it to Maine, the team agrees to give it a try, but all agree that if it fails, they're going to kill it. They're not going to try to trap it, they're going to try to kill it. They decide to use one of Dolores' cows as bait, suspended by a helicopter, to lure it in, trank it, and then take it somewhere else to be contained. And Dolores is fucking pissed.
You're all cocksuckers! I knew it first, I just didn't want to say it.
But I didn't want to say anything. Now the plan seems to not be working because the crocodile just wasn't wanting to take the bait. But then Hector sees him pop up on the radar. They dip the cow in the water slowly like a tea bag, and just slowly bringing the crocodile closer.
Like a tea bag.
It's fucking true.
Jesus, what an image.
Making some cow tea. But Hector loses control of the helicopter and crashes it into the water. Hector is okay, but now he's trapped on the fucking helicopter. The crocodile lunges at Hector a few times before disappearing, and while trying to figure out where he went, Hector yells that he can see it. He thinks he swam off. Right before the fucking crocodile pops up right in front of Hank. The crocodile charges the team, who try to amscray into a truck. You see, I did another one.
Amscray. It's a fun one.
Yeah, that's what I did there. Kelly is thrown from the truck. Again, just getting thrown from vehicles. It pissed me off. And while trying to save her, Jack gets too close and is almost taken out. But then Kelly, in a very stupid move, I don't know why she did this, goes into the water? That's like the main man's like fucking habitat. What the fuck are you doing? So the crocodile follows, and Hector advises her to go under the water, which actually is kind of smart because she could like hide under this branch that was down there.
Yeah, I got that, but
I wouldn't go under.
Right, that was my thing when he said go under. Yeah, that wound up working out because it wasn't it was like more like a tree that was basically underwater that she could kind of hide behind, and it actually prevented the fucking murder lizard from
that's
getting
a swamp
at her.
Puppy, you son of a bitch.
It actually prevented it from getting at her, but I don't know. It didn't seem like it made a lot of sense at the time.
To me, maybe, and this is just me personally because I love swimming, I feel more maneuverable when I'm under the water than I am on top. So maybe he was trying to say get under so you can watch it coming.
So you can maneuver, because I think you can move faster on the surface, but you can maneuver better underwater. That makes sense.
And crocodiles, when they swim, they're not very good about turning really quick under the water. Apparently, we're getting flagged down.
We're getting flagged. Your fiance has an interjection. What do you have?
So in the beginning of the movie, or not in the beginning, they're talking about, or when Hector's talking about crocodiles, he states that when they're underwater, they're like us. They can't keep their eyes open, and that's why he told her to go under.
Oh,
I
look
totally
at
missed
that.
that.
Winning.
Thank God your future wife was here.
Yeah, thank God I'm pretty, because she's prettier than I am, and got
She
all the
is.
brains. She is, very much so. Now, she almost drowns, but then makes it to the helicopter, and both Hector and Kelly manage to trap the crocodile when it tries to bite them from the helicopter. Like, it just, like, tries to go through the side and just gets trapped.
Oh, I have a line for this.
What?
Literally, I have written down, dude is literally wearing your helicopter.
He fucking
That's what it was.
was.
He was basically
It was
wearing
like
it
in
like
a cone of shame. It was a fucking helicopter.
shame.
Now, the team goes to kill him, but Hector points out that although it's not the original plan, the crocodile is trapped, and a tranquilizer that was previously shot at it starts to work. And Hank goes to shoot the crocodile, but then seeing that he has no fight left, like, lowers the gun. Jack picks up the gun before a protesting Kelly and Hector could stop him, shoots the crocodile. But luckily, it's just another dart. The team celebrates, but then in a fucking classic horror movie fashion, another fucking crocodile comes out of the water and grabs Hector. While pointing out that there are obviously two, he's like frantically going, he's like, there's two! It's like, well, of course there's fucking two, the other one just grabbed you.
Yeah, I think we can all see it here.
He makes it to the other team before the other crocodile bounds out of the water at them, and then he gets shot by Hank's forward bullshit thing that ends up being a grenade launcher, not a flare gun, which doesn't make any sense, and then the fucking crocodile just explodes.
Like, everywhere. Like, it literally just is exploded.
And I should mention, it was the second crocodile that was not as big as the other one.
And I'd say we're kind of at the culmination here,
Yeah,
correct?
there's
no more danger left at this point.
Not really, because then the big crocodile was just moved, and then the team is just discussing the fact that Dolores knew about the fucking second crocodile.
Right.
And she didn't say anything because she didn't want them to kill it.
You know, this isn't the conclusion of the entire
Yeah.
film. This is just the culmination of the danger portion of the film. And this is why I think it really bothered me. Nobody died.
2 people died.
No, okay, nobody of consequence. Oliver...
You don't fucking say that about Walt. You son of a bitch.
Here, I'll pour out a little Walt for Walt.
Only half a glass, though.
Half a glass of Walt. But none of our main characters died.
No.
Name me another fucking horror movie, or even a Jaws, Attack of a Killer Animal type film where none of the main characters die. I'm sure there might be, but I can't think of any off the top of my head because it's not a fucking thing.
I gotcha.
Somebody has to be sacrificed so that we have that we truly feel the danger of the situation.
Winnie the Pooh.
Like Blood and Honey?
No, I'm just talking about Winnie the Pooh in general. No one dies in that movie.
Well, it's not a horror movie.
Have you fucking seen the
Blood and
Heffalumps
Honey?
and Woozles?
The who?
The Heffalumps and the Woozles.
No.
They are fucking terrifying.
Are you just making up words? What's happening?
No.
Never heard of Heffalumps and Woozles?
No. Are you guys having a stroke? Like a couple's stroke?
No. It's a fucking Heffalump and a Woozle.
We're
gonna do this after.
You're a Wuffalump and a Hoozle.
But to seriously answer your question, no, there's not a whole lot of horror films that people just don't die.
Right, because it's not a thing.
Actually, in The Conjuring Part 2, and The Conjuring 1, no one really dies.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
And those movies are pretty terrifying.
But, okay, would you say you were terrified by this film at all?
As a kid,
Really?
no.
Yeah.
No. It's Oliver Platt. I felt comforted.
So what happens next, AJ?
All right, we're going to wrap this up because it's really quick how this ends. Hector is about to be escorted to the hospital because he obviously just got fucking bit for the first time in his life by a crocodile. And then Hank agrees to just go with him, which is kind of sweet. And Hank gets a nice kiss on the cheek from Kelly, who has finally started to bond with the group. And Kelly tells Jack she's going to stick around at the scene for a little bit longer whenever he offers her a ride. And then after a brief back and forth, he starts to leave before she stops him and asks if nobody in Maine makes a move. They have a brief, playful argument, and then they leave. And this is what kind of pissed me off about this, is I really did not want them to be together. It made no sense.
No, I agree. We didn't get enough characterization of them, like you said, lack of spark. We didn't get enough sparks to be able to justify bringing these two characters together. Like, it just... All I could think was, yeah, you guys could go to get a beer and maybe you'll have like a one-night stand, but there will be nothing that comes of this.
Oh, no.
You guys don't even seem to like each other.
The ending of this movie is actually kind of funny because Dolores is shown tossing bread into the water to a bunch of baby crocodiles. She's calling them her babies, and it's just kind of a sweet thing.
No, it's great.
And then the big-ass crocodile is shown strapped to a truck driving down the road as Bob Marley's Is This Love plays.
Because that made sense.
Yeah. Now, the only thing I have to say, that's the end of this movie. There's really not a whole lot of conclusion. I personally love this movie. It doesn't hold up very well if you are not watching it for nostalgia, but I think it's pretty great. The only couple things I will say that are kind of funny is that Betty White is actually a member of PETA, and earlier in the film, there's like a joke that's made about how like they're going to call PETA on her because of her treatment of the cows, which is actually kind of funny. And then the last thing I will say is that the crocodile that is found was measured about 30 feet, which would have been the largest fucking crocodile in the world. Here is the problem with that. I truly do not believe that there is enough wildlife around that would be able to sate that crocodile.
Well, I mean, yes, Betty White feeding cows for fucking 7 years.
And this is the problem, though. She had to do that for 2.
Oh, that's a good point. Because I guess the other crocodile was... it wasn't as big, but it was pretty close.
It's pretty big.
So clearly she was feeding both of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But like I said, this movie is, in my opinion, just a fun movie to watch. If you're not watching it for nostalgia, you might not like it, but it's a silly, fun movie with some terrible dialogue.
It's got Betty White.
It's got fucking Betty White.
That
and she
alone
calls
is a
them
reason to
cocksuckers.
She literally says, "Officer, fuck me." You can't lose with Betty White.
I will say the problem with this movie right now, that if you were going to try to watch it, is that it is incredibly hard to find for free. You are probably going to have to buy it, but there is a sale in October 2023. If this is when you're listening to it, it's on sale for $5.99 that you can just buy. So
wait, is there no... Because I could have swore I watched it on a platform for free.
I did not. I had to watch it on Vudu.
Hold on.
Did you watch it on my Vudu, maybe?
Oh, it's on Pluto. It's on Pluto TV for free right now.
I did not know. I fucking bought it. So.
Yeah, I was about to say. So, yeah. And just for our audience's clarification here, what I'm using, the tool I'm using anytime I want to look up what platforms is on, you can try to Google it, but sometimes the results can be a little wonky. I use the Roku app itself. So if you plug in a movie into that, it's going to tell, not only does it tell you which platforms it's on, require a subscription, whether it's absolutely free without a subscription, or whether it will incur a cost if you want to do that. You can also click on that platform, and if you have a Roku device, it will open that device to that film on your Roku, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think, Sean, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Like I said, it's just a fun movie. There's crocodiles, there's Oliver Platt, there's some weird sex jokes, and there's Betty White.
There's Betty White. I mean... As I've made my disdain for this film clear, and I will find a way to get AJ back with another Lost Highway.
Lost Highway, Sean. Lost fucking Highway.
This is AJ's revenge on me for making him watch Lost Highway. But you know what? I didn't make you pod Lost Highway. That would have been just evil of me.
Hey, I let you watch Spun, too, and you like that.
That was pretty good. That was good. Well, our music is created by Augusta Denise, logo by Design World, social media by the only person in the room who actually paid attention to the film, mixing and editing by IPTT Studios, and special thanks to Studio Dog Joe the Boxer.
And we want to hear from you in your own slice of toast. Tell us about the films you think we and others should see, actors to showcase, or topics to discuss. You can reach us on Instagram at IPTT_podcast, at Gmail at IPTTpodcast@gmail.com, or interact with us directly through the Spotify app.
And if you ever find yourself hunting a prehistoric-sized murder lizard at a lake in Maine for some reason, with only horrible David Kelly dialogue to drive you, remember,
you can always get more toast.
Thanks for listening.
If I had a dick, this is where I'd tell you to suck it. Officer Fuckmeat.